Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation of New York supports the annual Hiroshima and Nagasaki peace events in August, which have been a tremendous success and are very important, promotes awareness of issues relating to the proliferation of nuclear weapons and general issues in relation to war, conflict, and violence, with the intent of taking a proactive approach based upon Eastern religions to create a peaceful world. The foundation works to give life to the wish for peace. It creates and supports programs related to peace and reconciliation at the grassroots level so that ordinary people will learn to live peacefully with compassion and love, transforming violence in our society to peace. Indeed, as recently as yesterday, the Heiwa Foundation recognized the 10th anniversary of the devastating tsunami that struck Japan. And again, as we did yesterday, we take a moment to recognize the 4th largest tsunami in the world since the 1900s, the more than 500,000 houses which were completely or partially destroyed, along with about 500,000 people displaced, many of whom are still displaced, and of course, the more than 18,000 individuals lost their lives, nearly all from the relentless tsunami waves. So in many ways, the Heiwa Foundation, with all of you, is hoping to make sacred steps on this rich earth for peace. And so with that, I would like to welcome Venerable T.K. Nakagaki, the president and founder of the Heiwa Foundation, to speak.
We are here to celebrate the 30-year anniversary of the Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation of New York. I'm president of the Heiwa Foundation, T.K. Nakagaki. So I would like to welcome all of you. And so I know many people have difficult times, especially last year, 2020, because of the coronavirus. And as we all realize, for New York, at least, this is a 1 year a couple of days ago, supposed to be the exact 1 year, the first person of the coronavirus was found in this area. So that's why we would like to begin, even it's a celebration time, but at the same time, the human life is always uncertain. The fragile nature of human life is always here with us. And it's sometimes even, the death is an inevitable one, actually, as long as you're alive. So the death is always come. But then sometimes you don't know, how long it's going to be last, even longer. Like at least today, I'm just wearing the red still, but this is actually I got 60 years old now. And so which means to celebrate the 60s. But then, so it's on the other hand, many lives, very uncertain. You never know what's going to be happening tomorrow. Actually, the 2 days ago was tsunami, the Japan tsunami 10-year anniversary. So at that time, even nobody expected, the earthquake all of a sudden happened, and all the people on that day was already gone, right? I mean, so that many people have lost their life that way. So in a way, the life that we are living, we think this is a very certain, but it's not really certain at all. And you never know what's going to be happening to the next parts of the next moment. Because still, this is one of the worst record, I guess, in the country. But so the number one of the death from the coronavirus in this country. And so yeah, it's even they said this is a number that's adding to all the different wars, World War II, Vietnam Wars, and so forth. All the casualty deaths are actually less than this number of the coronavirus. So from that sense, this is a very, very devastating by this coronavirus. So we wanted to begin with this third anniversary celebration, but then first we respect all those lives who were lost by the COVID-19, and also those people who are still have difficult times. Some people doing much better, but yet some are still a lot of suffering, and so so we'd like to express our prayer. We show our prayer by the religious leaders from here in New York. So so that's why we are here today to do this part of the memorial first. Okay, and so today I hope we have everyone that we are requesting. But so first of all, Rabbi Joseph Potasnik from the Board of Rabbi, the New York Board of Rabbi, and he's executive vice president, and will be followed by the Guruji, Dileepkumar, Thankappan. Guruji represent the world yoga community, so Hindu tradition. And then Venerable Refa, Vice President of Buddhist Council of New York, from the Buddhist tradition, Chinese Buddhist, and tradition that he is representing. Reverend Dr. Crowley Breyer, Executive Director of Interfaith Center of New York, represent the Christianity. And then the Imam, Mohammed Shahidullah, the President of Interfaith Center of USA, Islamic tradition. And then lastly, Reverend Susanna, Macomb, Director, worship for the New Light Temple. So that's the order that I would like to have the prayers. So
thank you so much. And firstly, PK, let me again wish you a happy birthday. And I have a friend who said he never understood this custom of blowing out candles. You should light candles and keep them burning. And I can say this in knowing you all these years, you've always brought a lot of light to a lot of people. And we wish you many more years of light and love throughout your life and throughout our lives. Tonight, I want to say to you that there's a saying in Jewish tradition that the eyes are composed of two parts, the light and the dark, which you only see out of the dark. I think that teaches all of us that even at a difficult, dark time, you try to look out and recall that light and love you shared with people who meant so much to you. There's a wonderful story told that when God created this world, he assigned different names to every flower in the universe. The next day, God returned and asked each flower to repeat the name he had given to them. Each one answered immediately, except one. That one flower said, "I don't remember the name you gave me. Tell it to me again." And God said, "Because you don't remember that name, I'm going to give you a different name. Your new name now will be Forget Me Not." That, according to the story, is the origin of the name of the flower. We come here tonight to say that we have not forgotten. We remember that there are people who died in hospitals because of COVID and loved ones could not be at their side. We remember that there are people who were buried at cemeteries and loved ones could not be at their side. But we also learned that while death may conquer life, it doesn't conquer love. I have a custom. Whenever I visit my parents at the cemetery, I place a stone there, and many others do the same. They place something on the monument to show they were there. Well, what I also do is when I leave, I take another stone with me, and I carry it with me to say that I won't forget you. I think tonight, as we recall those who died, we also say we're not going to only think of how you died, but how you lived. And you're going to continue to live, maybe not with us, but always within us. Amen.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Trayambakam yamahe sugandhim pushtivardanam purvarigamiva bandana mrityor mukshayamamrita. Om Trayambakam yamahe sugandhim pushtivardanam purvarigamiva bandana mrityor mukshayamamrita. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarugamiva Bandhanam Mrityu Mukshayamamrutat. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Suginaga Sarve Sandhu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Gachyatu Kabhave Asadoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amradam Gamaya Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Yoga Samasta Sugino Bhavantu Yoga Samasta Sugino Bhavantu Yoga Samasta Sugino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace Peace Peace. Om Tatsat.
So, thank you.
Son san chuan san qian Quang Xin Si Si Jie Happy Ni Bao Than No We play the peace for all around the world.
Thank you so much. I would like to share a reflection on this anniversary of the day that we lost the first New Yorker to COVID-19. And it's a reflection that I've shared with others as well, but I think works for this moment. And then close with an evening prayer. In the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, New Yorkers witnessed the unimaginable. Emergency rooms filling up with the sick and the dying, a field hospital in Central Park, USNS Comfort making its way up the Hudson River, single congregations with tens of fatalities, as well as empty supermarket shelves and silent streets. Now, a year later, thanks to the heroic efforts of frontline workers and medical professionals, we are emerging from the pandemic and applying lessons to the new world that we find ourselves in. The promise of virtual communication, the preciousness of human contact, the need for racial equality in healthcare as revealed by the disproportionate impact of the pandemic on Black and Brown communities. As New Yorkers of different faith traditions, we mourn our losses and strengthen our resolve to make our city a place of resilience, of vibrancy, and human flourishing. And now I will conclude with a prayer that comes from the Book of Common Prayer for the evening, and it's called Compline. Keep watch, dear Lord, with those who work or watch or weep this night, and give your angels charge over those who sleep. Tend the sick, Lord God, give rest to the weary, bless the dying, soothe the suffering, pity the afflicted, shield the joyous, and all for your love's sake. Amen.
Amen.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening for everyone. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and most merciful. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, loving, compassionate God, looking with compassion on the whole human family. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina azaban nar. The one family under one God, help us to break down all the problems and the calamity. Our Lord, Creator of the heavens and the earth. Rabbi ghfir warham wa anta khairur rahimin. Amin. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Nakagaki and all Interfaith leaders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Konnichiwa. Hello, everyone. I'm Reverend Susanna Macomb. I'm the newly director of Interworship at the New Light Temple, which represents all religions. First, I want to say happy birthday to Reverend Dr. TK. TK, we love your Buddha smile, your humility, the good you do in the world. And we pray to God that you be granted many years of life for you and Heiwa, for all the good and peace you do in the world. And though the Interfaith Temple, which Guruji, who's here, is on the board of trustees and is the ordaining body of All Faith Seminary International, we represent many religions. TK asked me to represent Christianity, which was my tradition. We just take a moment to remember that 2.6 million people have died across the globe from COVID, 2.6 million. And it has taught us that we are truly, in the Buddhist way, interconnected, right? No matter what our backgrounds, where we're from, our social status, We are truly interconnected. What happens in one part of the world affects the entire world. And that's actually a spiritual concept. But there's also hope, right? We have to date distributed 250 million doses of vaccine. And it's not enough, but there's hope. We are emerging. So when I do Christian funerals, many people, I mean, of course, we read the 23rd Psalm and other prayers, ask me to read this reading. So for those who mourn, for those who grieve, we dedicate this reading. It's called Footprints, and many of you must know it. One night, I dreamed a dream. As I was walking along the beach with the Lord, across the dark sky flashed scenes from my life. For each scene, I noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to me and one to my Lord. After the last scene of my life flashed before me, I looked back at the footprints in the sand. I noticed that at many times along the path of my life, especially at the very lowest and saddest times, there was only one set of footprints. This really troubled me. So I asked the Lord about it. Lord, you said once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I noticed that during the saddest and most troublesome times of my life, there was only one set of footprints. I don't understand why, when I needed you the most, you would leave me. The Lord replied, my precious child, I love you, and I will never leave you. Never, ever during your trials and testings. When you saw only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. So those who mourn, for those who are suffering now, who are alone in a hospital, I have a vision. I see Almighty God holding your hearts in the palm of his or her hand. The creator of the universe then raises your hearts high into the firmaments. And we hear a thundering voice say, the voice of God, of all my creations, large and small, these human hearts are my greatest creations. For their ability to overcome obstacles is awe-inspiring. Their potential for healing is amazing. And their capacity to love is boundless and unending. These fragile yet powerful human hearts are most blessed. And then Almighty God brings your hearts into his heart for all eternity. Amen. Amen. Om Shanti.
I will introduce our musical guest. Our musical guest, the soprano Manami Hotori, is originally from Kobe, Japan, but she's been living and singing in the US for more than a decade. She has recently sung several leading roles in the US and Canada, including the title role in Madame Butterfly with the Mercury Opera. Manami Hotori. Thank you.
Hi everyone, happy birthday, Nakagaki-san, and also Peace Foundation. And I'm going to sing from Requiem by Gabriel Fauré, Pierre Yezu. Oh
Just beautiful. I'm going to introduce now, I have the great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, who is Mr. David Jane. He's actually our newest board member for the Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation of New York. He is a senior advisor to the president for institutional development at the Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology Graduate University and managing director of the Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology Foundation in New York. Previously, David was the director of foundation grants and assistant to the president at the United States Japan Foundation, where David actually met Reverend Venerable T.K. Nakagaki. With that, David, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that amazing introduction, and good evening, everyone. It's really an incredible honor to be here with all of you as we celebrate two concurrent birthdays. Of course, as we all know, a birthday for Reverend T.K. Nakagaki, who, as we all know, has completed 5 cycles around the Chinese zodiac and celebrating Kanreki. And I love the red that you're wearing there, TK. And of course, we're celebrating the Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation of New York's 3rd anniversary. So it's really an honor to be here and to speak, and I wish deep congratulations to you both. The world is a better place because you're both here, you, TK, and this foundation that you have created. Well, I don't know the recipe for peace, but tonight I wanted to speak with you about 3 themes that I think must be part of any design for a more peaceful world. These are recognizing the power of small things, understanding interconnections, and fostering authentic communications. Small things matter. At a time of COVID-19, when all virus particles in the world could fit inside a Coca-Cola can, it seems obvious that small things matter. But in the social world, we sometimes seem to think that only the large things matter and can have impact. But as a scholar I turn to often, Jeffrey Goldfarb points out in a book called The Politics of Small Things, sometimes social change begins not with a bang, but with a whisper. I was reminded of this when I was reading TK's statement of purpose for forming the Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation. He states that there is a need for many peace organizations, and importantly, that each organization can light the flame of peace. While only 3 years old and small, the Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation can play a large role in change and in fostering peace. Let me delve into the power of small things in a deeper way and tell you the story of Sadako Sasaki and her cranes. And I hope many of you know something about Sadako, and I have a crane behind me, which I'll weave into this story. 2 years old when the atomic bomb exploded over Hiroshima City on August 6, 1945, Sadako Sasaki would die 10 years later, on October 25, 1955, from radiation-induced leukemia. Such leukemia was commonly known at the time as atomic bomb disease, and both young children and adults continued to be diagnosed with this illness many years after the bombing. Unknown at the time was that Sadako Sasaki's story and a symbol associated with her, cranes, origami cranes, would spread around the globe as a symbol of peace. By way of example of just how far-reaching this spread has been, consider that in Barcelona, Spain, one finds Escola Sadako, a K-12 school founded in 1968 with approximately 600 students who all learn about Sadako Sasaki's story. In Buenos Aires, Argentina, there exists Fundación Sadako, which has various programs and activities and promotes the story of Sadako Sasaki. Images of the origami crane have spread globally as well. A large peace crane stands in front of City Hall in Beograd na Moru in Croatia. And a small crane that Sadako Sasaki folded in 1955 was donated by Masahiro Sasaki, Sadako's older brother, in 2009 to das Europäische Museum for Peace for Frieden, the European Museum for Peace in Austria. The Thai government utilized the symbol of the crane in efforts to send a message of peace to southern parts of the country embroiled in a religious battle. And even the United Nations has had its leadership fold cranes. On the 65th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, UN workers folded 1,000 cranes that Secretary General Ban Ki-moon presented to the mayor of Hiroshima. In the United States, statues of Sadako Sasaki can be found in the Seattle Peace Park in Seattle, Washington, the Prairie Peace Park near Lincoln, Nebraska, the Lindale Peace Garden in Minneapolis, and in Independence, Missouri. In Montecito, California, one can find a Sadako Peace Garden. And on August 6, 1996, the mayor of Santa Barbara, California, declared every August 6th Sadako Peace Day. In 1995, students at the Arroyo del Oso School in Albuquerque, New Mexico, created a children's peace statue that was specifically designed as a sister statue to the one for Sadako, created in Hiroshima, that exists today in Hiroshima Peace Park. And plays about Sadako have also spread throughout the country. In 2005, the Topeka, Kansas Civic Theater and Academy featured a play titled 1,000 Cranes about Sadako. And a well-known Japanese dance group in Washington, D.C. performed a dance about her during the 2011 Cherry Blossom Festival. Origami clubs and organizations also promote the story of Sadako and encourage folding cranes. Most information about her is passed to Americans through schools, since many teach about Sadako and have their students read the popular book, which probably all of you have read, Sadako and the 1,000 Paper Cranes by Eleanor Kaur. Many of these students also fold cranes, a form of embodied practice and a kind of doing solidarity with Sadako and others who have suffered from Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But not all the cranes are sent to Japan. For instance, many Americans and people from around the world folded cranes for the people of Newtown, Connecticut after the December 2012 school shooting there. Yet when it comes to Japan, Americans send the second largest number of origami cranes to the Peace Memorial Museum in Hiroshima, after Japanese people, who are the first largest senders of cranes. The Hiroshima Peace Culture Foundation reports that on average, 10 million origami cranes from around the world are donated to the Children's Peace Monument, built in honor of Sadako and other children who died from the atomic bomb. In 2008, over 13 million cranes were sent to Hiroshima. And in 2010, they received approximately 14.6 million. It's about almost 7 tons. Perhaps most interesting is the fact in this story about cranes that in 2007, a small red origami crane that Sadako folded out of cellophane paper, wrapping paper from leukemia medicine provided in the United States called methotrexate, would end up in New York City as one of the most important symbols in the Tribute World Trade Center Visitor Center, a memorial museum that educates visitors about the terrorist attacks of February 26, 1993, and especially 9/11, September 11, 2001. In October 2012, a crane made of steel from the World Trade Center that was destroyed on 9/11 was presented as a gift from 9/11 survivors associated with the Tribute Center to the town of Koriyama, Japan, located in Fukushima Prefecture, not far from the nuclear power plant that leaked radiation after the March 11th earthquake and tsunami. That's the crane that's behind me. So again, the small red origami crane folded by Sadako as she was dying in Hiroshima was donated to New York City, became an incredible symbol of comfort to 9/11 survivors. And to return that comfort to Japan, they created this crane made out of steel from the World Trade Center. The group's leader was so moved by the presence of Sadako's original origami crane in the museum in New York that he decided to create this. The small crane then, the red one that Sadako folded as she was dying, played a powerful role in connecting 9/11 survivors and 3/11 survivors and in bringing them peace. The crane flew from Hiroshima to New York City and then flew to Tohoku, weaving together sites of trauma in an attempt to create peace. Another original Sadako Sasaki crane was donated to the USS Arizona Memorial in Pearl Harbor in September 2012. Clifton Truman Daniel, President Truman's grandson, has been engaged in this, and in a meeting with me, indicated that it was upon reading Sadako and the Thousand Paper Cranes to his children that he was inspired to engage in activities related to promoting peace, and it encouraged him to support the donation of one of her original cranes, this time a yellow one, to Pearl Harbor. Reading this text, Sadako and the Thousand Paper Cranes also started a process that led him, Clifton Truman Daniel, 14 years later, to travel for the first time to Japan in order to visit Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That was in August 2012. The crane at Pearl Harbor is perhaps the tiniest object on display there. And it is amazing to think that at Pearl Harbor, an object from Hiroshima would be on display permanently. But the superintendent of the park explained to me when I met him several years ago and asked him about this, that it was important to place this small yellow origami crane that Sadako folded as she was dying at Pearl Harbor, because Pearl Harbor is no longer a war memorial, he told me. It's a peace memorial. And this small crane shows that no matter who starts the war, there is pain and suffering on all sides, that Sadako could have been anyone's daughter. These stories of how the crane has woven sites of trauma and brought peace to people who have suffered in different locations show us our interconnectedness. Just as TK and the Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation aim to show the connectedness between New York and Hiroshima and Nagasaki through the Manhattan Project, we must realize the challenges the world faces today are not isolated problems. They are challenges that we must all take on collectively. Furthermore, we are connected through events. The paradox of events, as Robin Wagner Pacifici, an amazing scholar in New York City, states, is that an event only exists if you can define its beginning and end. But in some ways, events never end. Consider Hiroshima. When we think of the bombing of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, we can think about it from the point of view of just one date and one point in time. But if we include the Manhattan Project, which TK does in his definition of the Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation, and all the preparation for what led up to Hiroshima, we begin to expand the time frame of that event. And even more importantly, in many ways, the event of Hiroshima, as I said earlier, has not ended. It continues to this day to have resonance, to have impact. And in many ways, it is a continuation of this event that led TK, I think, to form this foundation. Now, for peace to form, we need not only the power of small things that can help us understand our connections, but also we need authentic communication. And when I think of communication, I think first about the telephone. And I wonder if you know that when the telephone was invented, it was touted that now there would be an end to war because people could talk instead of fight. But the 20th century was anything but a century of peace. Talking didn't necessarily help because talking doesn't mean we're actually communicating. Communication is something deeper. It requires a genuine openness to trying to understand another's point of view, and it requires an openness to change. I think one of the goals of the Heiwa Peace and Culture Foundation is to aim to move beyond talking and to try to create space for communication. Perhaps no one is better suited to this task than TK Nakagaki, whose happiness makes all who surround him smile and want to try to work together to build a better future. But the challenges here are immense. For we live in a time when inward-looking nationalism appears to be on the rise. And as the late sociologist Benedict Anderson argued, nations are imagined political communities. They are imagined into being, and such imaginings lead us to create a sense of who is inside and who is outside the community. Those outside are hard to communicate with and easy to dehumanize. The Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation aims to allow for a reimagining of community, that it is not just your neighbors, your town, or your country that matters, that in fact, everyone matters. And reimagining community has power. Consider, for instance, the fierce divides that separated the US and Japan during World War II and led Americans and Japanese to dehumanize each other, to hate, to kill. Perhaps it would have been unimaginable to consider a time when Americans and Japanese would have extremely positive views of one another as they do today and share similar values, and when the two countries would be incredibly strong allies. But such is indeed the case today. The contemporary close relationship the people of America and Japan share would never have been possible without visionaries who believed in the power of education and cultural exchange over time to transform enemies to friends and to reimagine the relationship between the people of these nations. The Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation is just such a visionary organization. It imagines, I believe, a future in which people across the globe share an understanding that they have more in common than apart. Furthermore, it is an organization that realizes that such work never ends, that relationships between and among people requires constant work and cultivation, that relationships can never be taken for granted, and that we need to bring people from different faiths, from different spheres of society, and from different cultures together in ways that can encourage empathy and authentic communication. This is no easy task, but it is a bold goal that this organization aims to take up. And for that, I congratulate all involved in its founding. I want to end my remarks by presenting a special Japanese gift, a Dharma doll. And since I didn't have a Dharma doll with me, I printed out a picture of one. And let me show them to you, like this. And his eyes, you know, are empty right now. Dharma, for those of you who know, introduced Zen Buddhism to China from India. And he was deeply determined to achieve his goal of enlightenment, that he meditated day and night until he reached his goal. You color in one eye when you start a goal, and whenever you achieve that, you color in the other eye. The idea is that when you start a goal, you start a project, you start an ambitious type of activity, you really don't know what lies ahead. You're only seeing with one eye. But when you finish, you have both eyes and you can look back. It's kind of like Kierkegaard saying life can only be lived forward, but can only be understood backwards. And so TK, you know, you started this, and I think you have more than one eye. There's someone else with a Dharma, but I want to, on the 3rd anniversary, I want to color in, you know, one of the eyes here, and the goal, you know, is that we're going to make this world a better place, and also you know, that we're going to color in this other eye on your 10th anniversary. So wishing you many, many, many more years of great success. With that, I'll end, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. 7 years from now. Okay, nice number. And then James.
Yes.
Thank
No,
you.
I was paying attention very much to
Okay.
David. Thank you so much. It's wonderful. It was a wonderful presentation, and you can see I really do have notes, so I'm not just making it up off the top of my head. One of the things that you said, which I thought was important, you talked about small things. That was how you started off things, and I thought in the context of peace, how do we identify, in the context of peace, the small things that we should focus on? In your opinion, what are the types of small things that we should be focusing on for peace? Like with Mrs. Suzuka's cranes, for example.
Yeah, I think, you know, to me, this topic has always interested me. Somehow I think, you know, we're easily captivated by big things, big events. And we think sometimes that we're powerless as individuals. But I guess when you say that, you know, the first thing I think about is a smile. You know, or, you know, a touch or a show of concern, a card you can send. I mean, I think small acts of compassion, of gratitude, of connection I think we've all felt that. You know, I know I get an email from someone or a short phone call or even a text that could be transformative of my day and turn, you know, maybe a sad mood into something happy. The other thing that goes through my mind when you ask that is, and none of this is easy, I think, but just, even within yourself as just a single person trying to, find your own kind of peace, because it's hard to really, extend peace outward if inwardly, you're struggling. But at the same time, I guess there's almost a paradox. Sometimes when you're struggling and you help someone else out, you can improve your own state. So those are some of the thoughts that crossed my mind when you asked that good question, James.
Okay, and then the next question I had was, you pointed out as you were speaking, you talked about interconnectedness, and there's a term that in Buddhism called Itai Doshin, many in body, one in mind, that came to my mind. And how can we direct so that we can have what you called authentic communication? Your term was sort of authentic communication. That's what made me think of this. How can we make sure that we are on the same path, in the same mind for peace through what you called authentic communication?
It's a good question. And I, just to go back to I'm looking at TK, just to go back to your previous question, I was chatting with my wife earlier, and she says hello to you, TK, by the way, but she remembered your smile. and I think Rabbi Potasnik said something about that as well. And so talking about small acts, your presence and your smile uplifts a lot of people. Well, communication is tough. I think, just look at the United States today. It seems as though communication is very fragmented in the sense that there's not a lot of common sources of information that people are reading, or even common texts. You can sort of find out in social media or any kind of media evidence to support pretty much any view that you have. So I think one of my questions, and it's more of a question, I don't know that I have the answer, but is, how do we try to meet people who think very differently than we do about any particular topic, and try to, foster some sense of empathy with the idea that maybe somehow we can reach some common ground and see the commonness between us. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all humans, and we're all sharing the same kinds of sufferings and challenges. And I think, there are many interests and passions that can align, but we don't even allow ourselves a chance to sort of sit down and have that kind of communication. So, one way that you might be able to do it is trying to do activities together. I've personally been involved with a lot of very interesting service learning projects that brought students from throughout Asia together who had never been outside of their home countries, and they engaged in service projects as teams. And it was really interesting because they all had very, very different sort of views of the world, but they were engaged in a kind of common activity to help someone else. And through that, it sort of broke down some barriers and allowed for some sense of communication. Maybe that's part of the way. But I suspected that other people who are here have more brilliant answers. For me, it's in many ways a kind of question that I live, and I don't know that I have the right answer, but I think it's something we need to really try to find some ways to approach. Yeah.
I have just one final question for you, based upon, thank you again, David, for everything. You talked about reimagining, and you mentioned Soren Kierkegaard briefly in your presentation, talking about, life can only be lived forward, but understood going backwards. And the thing that triggered me, you mentioned about reimagining. What do we need to reimagine so that we can have the world that we need? Now, you talked about maybe those fellowships, working with the students as an example. How do you see us reimagining, like John Lennon, reimagining a world that is much different, but connected in a lot of ways to a future we haven't seen yet, but maybe one day can understand. How can we connect that? What do you see? What do you see that reimagining being?
The first thing I would say is that, you know, what we think is impossible might be possible. And I think we can look to some concrete examples. I mean, the one that I chose just because I'm most familiar with it, but you know, I'm sure there's many others and maybe even stronger ones, is, you know, what happened in the US-Japan relationship. I mean, it really is, I think, quite profound to see the way in which that relationship has transformed. And I really don't think that is possible unless you had visionary people who imagined that there could be something different. And those people who, you know, maybe during the war or shortly after the war, imagined that a relationship between the US and Japan could be better, they acted on that. Or, you know, at least there were many, many people working. But just to give you some concrete examples, shortly after the war, a university was created called International Christian University in Tokyo, actually built on the old R&D research facilities of Nakajima Aircraft, which was building a bomber that was going to bomb New York City. That was actually turned and transformed into a place of peace and reconciliation, International Christian University. That institution played a big role in bringing Americans and Japanese together. Another institution that John D. Rockefeller and Shigeharu Matsumoto, a Japanese man, founded is called the International House of Japan. Played a significant role in exchanges between both countries, bringing Americans and Japanese, not just students, but also intellectuals together to foster conversation. But I don't think any of those institutions would have happened without, you know, imagination, imagining that, you know, there is something different that could be created here. I mean, I love Einstein. He says, you know, imagination is more important than knowledge. And so I think, you know, trying to re-envision how the world could be, you know, is a powerful force that can allow other people to, you know, join you in kind of reimagining that. And the last thing I would say, I referred to Benedict Anderson, who wrote a very interesting book, Imagined Communities. And he makes a very interesting case in there. He says, you know, America, you know, any country, Americans, Japanese, you know, take any country. But he says basically, you know, it's an imagined community, and it's imagined because no American is ever going to meet all Americans. You're never even going to meet most Americans, but you imagine that you are part of this country, and there are all sorts of, you know, things that make you part of this country. The way a map is drawn, the language, you know, the sort of different ways that, you know, you're sort of, you know, it's sort of brought about that there's this construct called a United States of America or a Japan or an Argentina or anywhere else. But, you know, you can reimagine different kinds of constructs, and you can reimagine different ways that people can perhaps come together. So, yeah, I think, you know, with bold visionaries, you can rethink what the future should be like. It's not written.
David, thank you so much for your time, your graciousness, your wisdom that you shared with us all today. We deeply appreciate it. And we look forward to hearing from you in the future and working with you in the future on this exciting work for the Heiwa Foundation. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. And I look forward to learning from all of you who I'm sure have much more wisdom to impart than I.
So thank you so much again. So yeah, anyway, this is really like a no planning. I mean, you don't have any prepared question or anything. So it's you know, I mean, what do you call it? That particular moment by moment conversation, but which is, I think, is very important too. So I mean, so that's more real. And but at this, yeah, so I really appreciate the both of you to working together somehow. So I appreciate very much. And now I just wanted to have well, since we're going to have a more like the celebration today, so normally in Japan we have a little celebration for sake and kanpai, and I hope, but still, Tak Furumoto-san, I know Carol Furumoto is there, but I hope they can listen to it. And if so, could you speak? Is she there, or is
Can you hear us?
Oh yeah, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for waiting patiently. Because I was going to ask the first parts also, but then somehow you're looking for the candles and so forth. I forgot to ask you. I'm very sorry. But then so this time I would like to ask Tak Furumoto-san. He has been working with me for a long time for the peace ceremony ever since I came to the New York, 1994. So Tak Furumoto-san was always supporting me to do the peace ceremony, Hiroshima, Nagasaki memorial. And he always read the Mayor Hiroshima's message. And so I would like to have you the honor to do the kanpai. So I think everybody needs a little bit glass or something to drink the water. I mean, not the water, I mean the real
Coffee.
That's the part of the kind of a Japanese culture. So now I give you the moment to say something, and then yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Thank you.
It's appropriate to have Corona beer for kanpai for your third year Heiwa Foundation. I remember TK coming to New York City, about 1994, and he asked me, I was chairman of Hiroshima Kai at that time, he asked me to make a speech, and that's how we started. It's going to be 20th year this year, and as he said, we read the Peace Declaration, and we had silent march displaying the victim of atomic bombing. Like David said, every little bit counts. We started very small. At times, we only had 50 people joining us. At times, we went over 500 people. But continuing and with his passion, with his energy, I tagged along with him and was honored to meet him in 1994. He has changed my life too. And again, your 60th, and I kind of taken over your red here, but I envy you. You're only 60. I went around 6.5 times already. But again, I think David's speech was so inspiring, and thank you. And now, kanpai, and may God bless you and continue this peace movement. Thank you. Kanpai.
Kanpai.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, kanpai, everyone. Okay. Thank you so much.
And now we'll have another rendition, another presentation from soprano Manami Hattori. Thank you very much, Ms. Hattori.
Hi again. This time I'm going to sing something joyful, celebrating this moment. And that is from Messiah, Rejoice Greatly. Rejoice, rejoice. We enjoy.
Bravo, bravo.
Thank you.
That was fantastic.
Bravo, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was nice.
So first of all, thank you so much for everyone to join us today. And the Heiwa Foundation itself is, as I said, 3 years ago we started. Now, one of the main reasons is try to maintain the peace ceremony, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, because we've been, continue for a long time. I mean, so it's actually when we have a 25th year of Hiroshima, Nagasaki Memorial. We wanted to have this organization run so that even anything happens later for myself and so forth, but then if the organization is there, maybe we can continue. I mean, that was the first reason, main reason to begin. But at the same time, always I wanted to focus on something for my life. After 50 years old, I mean, of course, 60 now, but 10 years ago, I start thinking of where we're going. And so I feel like all the things that I learned from the Buddhism is always focusing on a peace, creating a peace. So if might be time to focus on my life a little bit more, something specific. And then so because at the temple, there are so many different things in the going on, so you can't do always focus on that. Only once a year we do that kind of activities, and then occasionally, but not to be able to focus on. So by creating an organization, so we can focus on the peace building. And so this is still challenging, gradually, one by one. I am building up one by one. Like, yeah, I think I'm pretty patient. So it's like I'm the year of ox, right? So you can tell this is a year anyway. So it's a 60. So the yeah, oxes tend to be patient. Is yeah, very characteristic. So, but then I feel like, you know, reflecting only 3 years, but then we have been doing pretty well in one way, because still, you know, it's just a new, like a 3 years old. So it's still, you know, start walking a little bit and, you know, start recognize a little bit more. But then even like a pandemic happened last year, we did have various events, even actually start connecting to the world, like India, Pakistan, you know, all those places. And then the Japan, of course. And even like a Hiroshima, Nagasaki Memorial 75th anniversary last year, I thought we couldn't do anything, but yet we are, you know, we have connected to from Hiroshima, actually I don't know how to say English, but 国際会議場 International Conference Room, you know, in the inside of the Hiroshima Peace Park. And then so we are able to connect to New York and then Hiroshima. Oh, and then David, keynote speaker, David Jane, he was a MC on the particular events. And so in a way, kind of even though we have Corona has a very difficult time for people, but yet somehow, you know, those are the things that we all have. And so from there, what we can do is a question that I have and then that we have. And so that even though, you know, those difficulty, we're able to do something different. And then the Hiroshima mayor show up over there too. And then they're really impressed to be able to have an international, you know, like a 75th anniversary of the Hiroshima Day, and then Nagasaki in there too, Nagasaki Day as well. So such things are, you know, happening. And so, of course, we did already have a 501c3 status like within 1 year, and so which was very nice too. And then we start building the board members, and then so at least the yearly program we start doing many things. So I think we've been doing pretty well for that sense. And then, of course, from this year, one of the big projects that I wanted to really focus on is something that I would like to introduce the next part, because so now I wanted to continue for more dialogue. You know, we started the events now, and then the one thing is, of course, I wanted to develop the program, peace building program. And so there's a Washington and so forth. Buddhist Council is working for that too. But then we wanted to have a cooperation together and how we can create the peace, you know, proactively, not the reactive, you know, everybody just reactive, what happens, so they just say something. But yet seems like I need building up the peace one by one in even everyday life, even the words, how you use the words. You know, because you know, those are two things that are connected, right? I mean, the mind and body, the words is very important in between, but yet somehow the words are, you know, treated kind of lightly. And so that words have a lot of violence also, and words can make people happy, and then the sad and all those things. And so you know, this culture, a lot of way, you just throw away the words, but then no responsible for the words that they say. Oh, I'm coming here now, but then, you know, then the words itself say something, but yet they don't come, right? The words and the actions should be together. The mind and the words should be together too, right? So kind of the developing that kind of activities and so forth that I feel like it's important for the Heiwa Foundation can focus on. And then also second part is a dialogue, because we do need a lot of dialogue between the different religion, the different understanding, different even the thoughts. And one of the things that you probably know, since you're here with me many times, is a swastika symbol, and which is the book that I wrote. And then I don't know how many of you are aware, but then the New York State has the bill about the hate crime bill. And because, well, I mean, that itself is okay. Hate crime is something to, harm other peoples, and so those should be stopped. But yet, the part of the description is a two thing they will teach. What's the snooze? Snooze. Yeah. Snooze. Sorry. The words that I can't pronounce. But and then so that kind of symbol, they have to teach those things. But also the second thing let's talk about is a swastika as an evil symbol. But it is not necessarily so from the different traditions. And then so that bill is already in right now. And we have, actually I've been very busy every day. I'm talking with the Hindu community peoples and then discussing, today is also as the one of the Senate, and then a couple of us have a meeting at 2:00. So I should have this one, but then so many, things going around here, and then they're talking with the interfaith centers, other places too. So, but make it short to that story. I'd like to, so that's one of the things, what's going on here is also we're making some movie based upon my book, actually, about the Buddhist swastika and the Hitler's cross. And so I would like to actually introduce, this is one of the projects that I would like to continue, because the swastika itself is Eastern, we call it Dharmic tradition. I don't know, that's the first words that I learned recently. Dharmic is Dharma, Judeo-Christian versus maybe Dharmic. Dharma, like a Hindu, Buddhist, Jain. So those are Dharma tradition, the centering the truth, basically, the true principles. And so so even like those people, the swastika is a very important terms, and that's Indian terms too. So anyhow, I would like to call upon Yusuke Kiname. So for the Heiwa Foundation, I would like to also work on, and this is the education matter. So it's important education material that they are developing. And I'm hoping this will be something that people be aware, and that's a cultural understanding as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Just TK, do you want me to screen share and share the trailer? I know we discussed.
Yeah, I gave you the co-host.
Okay. All right. So also Adam Wiseman, our co-producer, is on today's Zoom as well. First of all, we just want to show a sort of teaser trailer that we put together of our filming with TK that we've been doing so far. We filmed in Japan and in New York. So let me just play this trailer first.
Almost 2 years now, right?
Yeah, it's been some time. Okay.
My name is Toshikazu Kenjitsu Nakagaki, so people call me TK as a initial part. And I myself was born in Japan, in Osaka, and I came to the United States in 1985. So actually I live here about 35 years in this country, United States. Right now, it seems like in terms of swastika or the Hakenkreuz, we just need a little more information available so that people can read and see. 一応じゃあここにあるその曼珠っていうのは基本的には仏教のシンボルっていうような形で考えても全然問題はないっていう形。
Pretty shocked to see it here, to be honest with you. I didn't expect it to be in a temple of all places, or a shrine. I think just because it has such a negative connotation.
140年ぐらい前に、関東地域の かなり広範囲の地図を作りました。その時に地図記号を定めております。そのと最初の時から卍の記号をお寺に使ってございます。
アメリカ人は何をもって自分をアメリカ人として見るか、日本人は何をもって日本人として見るかってところに考えるときに、日本人で結局まで悲しいところ血なんですよね。でもアメリカ人って結局その例えば朝とかに旗に忠誠を誓うとかそういうのあるですよね。だから旗が持つ意味って多分シンボルが持つ意味多分かなりもっと日本人とは違う感覚持ってるから。
もう3000万人の外国の旅行者が日本に来ていただいてますし、オリンピックに向けておそらく数はどんどん増えていくと思いますので、だんだんこの卍の記号って何なのって思う方は増えてくるんだと思うんですね。でその時にこういう背景がある、こういう歴史的な背景があるということを、やはりきちんと理解をしてもらうというのは大事だと思いますが。
Symbols require us to be careful. Hate crimes here in the city have increased immeasurably in the last couple of years, and now the swastika is being painted in all kinds of places. So I think it's important, particularly for Buddhists and perhaps more generally for many Asians, to understand what a provocative and negative symbol it is when used as part of white supremacy, white nationalism, anti-Semitism.
It was used as a trademark, or at least a supplementary mark for many products, because in history it represented good fortune, good luck, the four seasons, any number of more deeply symbolic and or spiritual things.
But to try and convince people who still are bearing the scars of that use of swastika, because whether Hitler called it that or not, if the last thing the person you love most in the world experienced was a person wearing that symbol, blowing their brains out, what they called it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. To them, it doesn't matter. And no, there's no maybe. That's the problem here. If in the end, historical reconstruction
卍を通してじゃあもう少しそこにダイアログが生まれていく、だから対話が生まれていくっていうのが一番私としては大切なことで、その平和っていうのを私はずっと考えてきてるから、平和のシンボルっていうことはやっぱりどういうふうに相手を理解するか、お互いを理解していくかっていうのがすごく大切になってくると思うんで、だからそのシンボルをね蘇らせることっていうのはある意味で人類の歴史をちゃんと蘇らさせてもらうことにもなるし、ヘイトクライムもどうやってできてるかもよくわかると思うんですよ。
Yeah, interconnection was a little bit bad, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's over Zoom, but yeah, as you can tell, we met some incredible people, had some great conversations. Obviously, it's a very emotional issue, and yeah, we pretty much finished filming, and we are now in the post-production process where we are sort of editing, putting music together, adding narration, all that, all those things, and we're hoping to launch a crowdfunding campaign next month so that we can sort of gather funds and complete the film. And as you saw at the end of the trailer, you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook. It's at Manji Documentary. And yeah, if you guys can follow us, that'd be great. And once again, I want to thank TK for participating. And yeah, thank you for having us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. So Adam, do you want to say a few words?
And yeah, thanks to
Oh.
happy birthday. Yeah, just to add what Yosuke already said, we did just finish filming at the start of this year. It's been a long, long process, as I'm sure everyone can imagine. Pandemic sort of affected our timeline, both in terms of finishing filming and in terms of getting the film out there. Like Yosuke said, we've got a little bit of work ahead of us to finish up the film. We are looking to release something hopefully before the end of this year, and could absolutely use everybody's help to get it over the hump. So as Yosuke said, in about another month, we will be launching a crowdfunding campaign. And of course, we'll ask TK to help us circulate that to everybody. And thank you all in advance for your support, and look forward to seeing you all again. Thank you. Thanks again, TK.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. And so I hope I can show some of the things for the explanation by the screen. Yeah, so this is a support Manji documentary. Manji follows, oops, sorry, move by itself. Manji followed Reverend TK Nakagaki, a Japanese priest, lived in the America for the past 35 years as he traveled to the globe on a mission to reclaim the swastika as a symbol of peace. So help us finish the film. Although we have wrapped up filming in New York and Japan, we are still looking for funding in order to finish the post-production process. So here are some of the cost donation will cover. News stock and then archive footage, editing and color correction, music and sound, and mastering and distribution, film festival, and the free entry fee. So I think it would be great to have the film going to the festival too, because and then the next page that I'd like to read together is thank you for the film donors. So I hope you'll be one of the donors soon. And we are, so especially as they said, next month in April is everything start in April. I guess the Japanese school start April too. So I hope you'll be able to help them. So we are very grateful for the donation we have received so far, and hope to continue to strive make best film possible. And this is should be very educational material too, so that's why a lot of people are looking for this film too. Instagram going on, and a Facebook more update and so forth, so please write down this the site so that you can help, you can read what's going on. And then at the same time there will be the sponsorship, this film I should read it, but please visit our physical sponsorship page at the film collaborative. So if you are interested in and decide to help this way, is also another way. And so thank you very much again, Yosuke and Adam, for making efforts and then patiently continue to finish up this particular project, which started 2 years ago. And so, so thank you again for your efforts. And I think I'm sure this will be very important piece for understanding, or for education or understanding of the swastika versus maybe Hakenkreuz. Okay, so let me continue. Thank you so much for everything for today. So a little bit over time, but yet, so thank you. But this one will be recorded and also in sharing in a Facebook site, live. So I'm hoping that more people can eventually look at what we have been doing. So, so first of all, I just wanted to thank for all the board members and supporters of the Heiwa Foundation. Without you, we can't have this organization running. And so we really appreciate your knowledge and experience that share with us. And so I'm first of all very grateful for all each board members and also the officers that we have, and then the volunteer that we receive. And So first of all, I just maybe mention all the names of the people who are helping. So that maybe that's the first thing that I wanted to do. And what I realize is if I move my page, this page is going to move something too. So but anyhow, I would like to thank, first of all, James Lynch for today, even doing MC for these parts. And he's a vice president of Heiwa Foundation. And yeah, do you want to say a little bit something? Maybe
the only thing I was going to say, one quick thing is just thank you very much for this opportunity. This is a wonderful organization. We're doing great work, and we're trying to help people at the end of the day. And that's what matters the most, giving people hope.
Okay, thank you so much. And we do have another vice chair this from the last year. So, right, are you?
Yes.
Yeah, so can you mute yourself, or you can come here if you like.
Over here, we're gonna have a howling.
Actually, the Heather Harlan, Nakagaki, actually, so she's one of the signer of the organization too, but then she's now have more time to be able to help, and so back to the.
Hi everyone. I guess most of you know me already, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been trying very hard in the past few years to help TK build up the organization, and usually do it in a behind the scenes kind of way, helping him with PR for the events, and just kind of advising him on a lot of things and cleaning up his English on some of the things he writes and that sort of stuff. But more and more as we build the organization and try to make it a little more professional and everything, I thought it might be nice to take on an official position and as we move forward with everything. So that's my new role. And I want to also just thank everybody for coming today. And we're so happy that you could come and join us. In this difficult time, we all have to be in our houses, but somehow we can still luckily stay connected through the computer. And TK was so happy to put on his little red outfit. He got this from Amazon.com a couple of months ago, and showing it off to me, and I was like,
well,
what?
This is on
Yeah, I was like, what the heck is that? 'Cause I didn't realize, I didn't know they had to wear that kind of outfit when they turn 60. And I tried to Google that, and I was like, okay. So it's cute. He's having fun, and I'm glad he's having fun.
Yeah.
We're going to eat our cranberry tart later. Food and anyway, bye.
Thank you. So welcome to Foundation. And then the speaker today, David Jane, is a new one also from the last year. But then actually this Heather is the newest. The second newest was David Jane. So thank you to be part of our organization and be part of the responsible positions. So do you want to say just a few words? You say a lot today, but it would be nice to hear just a little bit if you like.
Oh, well, just thank you, and honored to be part of this. Look forward to getting to know everyone, and thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. No, you can say a little bit more if you like, but
I already spoke enough.
Okay.
But I've known TK for a long time. We were both, in something called the U.S.-Japan Leadership Program, which an amazing man, George Packard, formed, who was president of the U.S.-Japan Foundation. And so really just so privileged and honored to get to know you, TK. And I really meant it when I said the world's better, because you're in it. And, every time I saw you at the USJLP gatherings, I was always, you always made me smile and put me in a happier mood. So really happy to help you out here and be part of this, and looking forward to getting to know everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much again. Great talk for today. So thanks. And also, I don't know whether she's here or not, Dr. Kazuko Tatsumura. I guess because they have been having a difficult time to coming into the, those technology parts. So she has been coming to the a study class in the Sundays, and sometimes she does a lot of parts of the helping for the Heiwa Foundation too. So I just wanted to thank and supporters for the financial too as well. So I thank you for her, although she's not here. Seems like if she's here, please let me know. But look like, and then there's a Tomiko West. She's a hibakusha survivor from the atomic bomb and from Hiroshima, and then she has been also board members from the beginning, because this organization, as I said, is connected to the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombing. So it is very important for her to be here. And then she has the same problem. She has, she's 80, I shouldn't say something, 80 something years old. So, it's very difficult to use it. And even she said she tried, she just got the, the screen now. So, the camera now. So, because her computer doesn't have a camera. So it's a little old one. So, yeah, anyway, so it's making many efforts to help us out always. So that's a willingness that she showed. Is there anybody else? Okay, maybe we can go to the officers, and then we have like executive officers from the Buddhist Council. One part is treasurer. The treasurer is the Chris Davey. Are you still there? I know it's getting late.
I'm here. Hi.
Oh, very great. Yeah, thank you. Can you say a few words?
Oh, well, happy to be part of this association. I'm honored to be working with you, TK, and look forward to many more projects this year.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your help. So she did the MC for the March 11 last week, 2 days ago. And so thank you so much for doing that too. Appreciate it so much. And so we have what do you call it? Secretary position is the Rino Aise. Are you there? Oh, can you unmute yourself?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So congratulations for third anniversary of Heiwa Peace Foundation, and happy birthday to Nakagaki. So I'm glad to work with you and your foundation. Thank you very much.
So she has a Tiara organization also. So we've been working together in a different project. Like December, we did commemoration of Pearl Harbor memorial, and so of course she speaks Japanese much better, and she's also the singer of the Heiwa Peace Band also. So I don't know, maybe I should ask her to introduce that very last song that we're going to sing, I guess. But then before that, I just wanted to also recognize, I've been starting the one by one, so I wanted to try to get some religious advisors, since we do have a lot of interfaith as a part of our organization. So if the Guruji is still here, I wanted to introduce you first. Guruji agreed to be advisory part of the religious advisor of the Heiwa Foundation. Guruji, are you there?
I'm here. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me for all of the events, and you are part of the Global Council for the World Yoga Community last 5 years. Thank you for that. And I want to say, happy birthday, 60 plus 3. 60 for you, 3 for the organization. And all the board members, Heather, and the new board member, David and Chris, some of our friends are there. June is there, and Reno is there. It's wonderful to work with you all, We have a wide range of events with the different communities. Wherever we go like a team. This is love from the Interfaith movement,
Yeah.
I enjoy that part. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Guruji. And also, I haven't asked yet, or hopefully the Mohammed Shahidullah, since we have been doing a different program, even including the face-to-face, like a TV program, like a Buddhist and Muslim together. So he's interested in helping the different ways to the communication. So hopefully he'll be part of it later, but I haven't asked him yet. So, but because one thing is he got a little car accident. So I hope he's getting better. And then after he's recovered totally, then I will ask you. So once again, so please be prepared for that. I shouldn't forget one more person, Jun Nakanishi-san. He's been always close to me, but somehow it's too close. Sometimes if it's too close, you forgot to see it. You know? So, but then it's like, what do you call it? The Todai Motokurashi, what do you call it? The shadow, you know, the foot on the lighthouse is always dark, so you don't see, although it's right there. And then so.
Well, I'm glad you remembered me, though. I thought you forgot about me completely.
You can say don't you forget.
I was falling asleep.
So yeah, thank
yes,
you.
I'm here.
No, he has been very a lot of help for the Heiwa, peace band, as well as the organizing, and always behind the scene, many parts, but yet wonderful that you'll be part of this. And so anyway, please, could you, if you don't mind, sharing?
Yes, because of Corona, we had to cancel a lot of scheduled events, especially in terms of fundraising, and that's something. It's I'm glad we're still here. We still survived through the year of Corona, but hopefully we could start coming up with some ideas about how to fundraise. That has been a very critical issue for our organization. So that's something I like to start thinking. And even with the Corona, there has to be a way to do it with like a remotely using internet or crowdfunding, whatever that takes. But we'll see what happens. But that's something on my mind, and I hope that's something we all remember. That's something we need to do. It's pretty urgent to do that. So I just hope everyone knows where we stand at this point, and in order for us to continue, that's something I'd like. If you have any ideas as to how to do it, how to fundraise, please let us know. So that's pretty much what's on my mind.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
and thank you very much for everyone for being here tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So so we need person like Jun-san who always looking at us for the bigger picture, because I tend to forget about the money part and then do all the different things, but yet we need financial parts as well. And so definitely important. And then even though the name is foundation, we need more money to have fund for somebody to help other people. And so I would like to also, maybe I wanted to share the page here. Okay, this one. So, well, at least I wanted to show this part of the thank you for joining today, but also the first part was over and still going on recording. But then so the very last part, the donation is deeply appreciated. And so if you can go to the www.heiwafoundation.org/home/donation, then you can make a donation that way. And if you go to that page, there's an address and so forth, other way to send your kind donation money for support the Heiwa Foundation. So I deeply appreciate it. If you can do even whatever the amount, any amount of the donation is really appreciated. So I thank you for that. And so I just wanted to thank everyone for joining today. I know it's almost 10 o'clock, so we'll be finishing with our last songs. And so maybe I just wanted to ask Rino-san, maybe in Japanese is okay, maybe Jun can translate, but then since you work hard for this particular, parts, so maybe why don't you introduce the last song for today?
こんにちは。愛瀬りのです。今回ティングさんの花という歌を平和ピースバンドと5人のメンバーで歌わせていただきます。
Oh, I'm supposed to translate? I'm sorry. Yes. Shoot, I wasn't really listening.
Sorry.
Okay.
One more.
We did a song called Tin Sagunu Hana. That means I forgot what's the name of the flower in.
Hosenka.
I know, but what's that in English? Anyway, it's a it's a very pretty red flower in Okinawa, and this song is about this flower. And in essence, the message in the song is whatever that you have now don't last forever, but they come back to for sort of like what your mother told me. You don't really listen to them while they're alive or she's alive, but then the later it comes back to you and it teaches you a lot of lessons. I think that's kind of message that goes through the whole song. Anyway, we recorded it over the weekend, and we have with the Heiwa Peace Band, with Lino with the vocal, Kenji-san on bass, Hiroshi Kono, that's Rino's husband, on guitar, and myself, and Sony Ochiai-san on sanshin, and Rino plays sanshin as well, which is an Okinawa 3-string instrument, and I play percussion. So that's a new song, and I think we're going to put the song, are we?
Yeah. リノさん。
ごめんなさい。全部英語で説明していただいてありがとうございます。
I think that's right. I was supposed to just translate, right? Sorry.
You didn't say that yet, but anyway, it's okay. It's a good explanation, I think. So, リノさん、なんか一言言っときます。もう大丈夫ですか？
いえいえ、大丈夫です。はい。
じゃあ、
沖縄の愛称会になっています。
そうですよね。
And it's a song, is a song loved by Okinawa people.
Thank you very much, everybody. This was really beautiful. We had the Heiwa Foundation. We had the celebration for Venerable Nakagaki. We really want to thank everyone who came. Also want to say thank you to Venerable Nakagaki for giving us this opportunity to come together as a community. And we look forward to 600 more. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So have a good night. Thank you very much again. And then thank you for all the messages for the chat. So I'm sorry that there much of chance to respond to you, but yet we reading that. So I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Okay, have a good night.
Happy birthday, TK.
Hey, how are you? Whoever that is, I can. Anyway, so thank you. So let me introduce. We have a little program even like a happy hour. So first of all, thank you very much for joining today. どうもありがとうございます。ハッピーアワーなんですけど、proceed by MC by James Lynch. And so he's actually vice president of the Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation of New York. And also he's a president of the Buddhist Council of New York. So
thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I'm glad that Venerable Nakagaki has given me this opportunity to introduce him and all the activities of the Heiwa Foundation for tonight. We're here for the Heiwa Foundation's 3rd anniversary and Nakagaki's birthday celebration. It's really something exciting. Yeah, that's something very big. And they both sort of go hand in hand together. He's done tremendous work. This is impromptu. I have some other things, but this is impromptu. He's done tremendous work, helping tremendous amounts of people all around in the New York area and also around the world. But I wanted to take a moment here to talk about the 60th anniversary, birthday celebration. Some birthdays are particularly significant milestones in different cultures. In Japan, special significance is placed on a person's 60th birthday, known as Kanriki. In any event, those were my brief opening remarks, but I wanted to take a moment out to say why this celebration is so important. And, Venerable Nakagaki is not only someone I follow and listen to all the time, but he's also a good friend. So I'm really very happy to be here with all of you.
When we do the Heiwa Foundation events, we always look for somebody who can play the peace song. So it's always, we have to find somebody, right? And then it's always a difficult time to find people. So if that's the case, why don't we start our own Heiwa peace band? So that was the kind of idea. Actually, my real birthday is March 11th. Simply a couple minutes quiet. Thank you so much. So now the Heda-chan will be giving me those red coats. I don't know, traditionally we're supposed to dress up with red, so people expecting, and so I guess, so she just gave me. Oh.
This is nice. Very nice.
Yeah, so it's a little reddish color. Oh, wait.
Oh, yes. And there's more.
There's more. This one is that why this hat is so
That should be it.
A French hat.
He's making cake and pastries. That's a tradition.
Very nice, very nice.
Yes, traditional.
So, maybe we can take a photo now at this point, one point out of the photo. Now, can you smile also? Let me also just take photo from here. So at least nice to have a little picture anyway. So yeah, thank you. So at least, geez. Okay. Yeah, at least.
How many minutes do they stay in the room?
Smile.
So yeah, well, maybe a couple of minutes to introduce themselves.
Okay.
And then
I will give them 5 minutes, 7 minutes. What
yeah,
do you think?
5 minutes is good.
Smile.
So
now
they're coming back. No,
all right.
Was not in coming back. That's
そこにピアノがある。
そう今から
ピアノが。
あと2本ね。あと2本でやりましょうって感じです。
Yeah, we just didn't know how to come back.
He got stuck outer space.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so we can see he's lighting the candles. When Nakagaki is lighting the candles.
Yeah. 見えます？赤いケーキ。
Can we see a better picture? Let's see the picture of the cake.
Oh yeah, こうしようか。
Beautiful.
Delicious.
6 years old, huh? Good.
So this is a real cake then. So
yeah, it's very good. No calories for me. That's good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a good.
It's a cranberry tart from Trader Joe's.
Wonderful.
You can't get something red for coming.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Did you take a photo? Did anybody take a photo?
I will take a photo now. Hold on.
Okay.
Don't move. Don't move.
Good.
Right?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
じゃあ、まなみさんかな？お願いしていいですか？
Hi. So you guys have to sing it on. Okay. Everybody did the mute.
I'm going to mute everyone. I'm muting everyone. Don't worry.
Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful. I want you at my birthday party. What a wonderful voice. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Can we all put our hands together and put our thoughtful prayers for Venerable Nakagaki's health, his strength, his wisdom, his determination, his kindness, his compassion to last for 1,000 years or more. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I brought a candle now, okay?
Yes, please.
Make a wish. Thank you.
Yay!
Happy birthday.
Wonderful.
So thank you so much.
And now we have music, right? We have another music from Japan.
Okay. Then now I hope this share the screen. This is actually the wind of restoration, because the people say this is a year of the wind. And so I thought this is a nice song that. Is the another one more song that came from the good friend of mine, and also he's a board member of the Heiwa Foundation also, and so we'd like to hear from Shinji Harada.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear TK. Happy birthday to you. You. All right. Happy birthday. Nakagaki-san おめでとうございます。Kanreki birthday。本当にね、大台行きましたけど、ここからがまた見える景色が変わります。そしてますます、力強く動けるんじゃないかと思います。本当に世界の調和に向けてさらに頑張っていきましょう。よろしくお願いします。またそちらにお伺いして世界中でライブができる日楽しみにしています。Yeah! Happy birthday!
And so thank you very much for the wonderful message.
And again, we say, let's meet new friends today. In many ways, you want to consider it as Dharma, a heavenly arrangement, that the fact that we are here today together to celebrate Venerable Nakagaki's birthday is the moment of Ichigo, Ichie, one life, one meeting. This conversation won't be recorded again, so you may show your face and talk freely, so it means off the record. Of course, one should not dominate the conversation. Each one should try and talk for 1 to 2 minutes, since the breakup group is, it's not going to be 15 minutes, it'll probably be about 8 or 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And the simple rules: respect each other, because each of us lives his, her, its precious life. And these are the 2 questions we wanted you to think about. Venerable Nakagaki wanted you to think about. What is peace to you? And second question, how do you create peace? Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for hanging there. Technological magic, right? The way it is. But thank you so much. Hopefully you had some even brief discussions on those 2 issues about what is peace for you and so on. Now we wanted to talk briefly, the Heiwa Foundation in a lot of ways can't exist without you. your support. And there's all kinds of in Buddhism. There's all kinds of support. There's physical support, the support of fearlessness, and there's also physical support in its terms of giving donations. And that means donation. I'm talking about monetary, if you can.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
No, it's okay. It's beautiful. It's okay. It's all right.
That's your asking.
It's a beautiful time.